Singaporeans, make more babies. That continues to be the plea of the government, especially since the total fertility rate dived further to an all-time low of 1.16, which is a far cry from the required 2.1. At the National Youth Forum 2010, Senior Minister Goh Chok Tong urged the youths present to have more children.
On TFR, you feel quite strongly, and I'm very glad that people like you feel strongly about this issue. So again, try and identify the emotional issues, the attitude issues, why people are not having children, even though they are married, just one or two and so on. And talk to your friends, well, just encourage them to do what you believe should be done for Singapore.
But when RazorTV spoke with the participants, not all were convinced by the government's call to have more babies.
Personally, I still will not give birth. Actually, I don't want to give birth. Because I think that Singapore's standard of living is very high, and then it's quite costly to raise a child, right? Because my sister just gave birth, and then she has to balance her work and her life, so it's actually quite difficult because no one can look after her kid, and she doesn't want to entrust her kid to a maid either.
I would definitely like to have kids. The number, not so sure. Maybe try one. If I can afford, maybe two. I think the most important thing to me is the increasing cost of living in Singapore. That said, the increasing cost of bringing up a child is also it's increasing rapidly. So having one child and bringing him or her up adequately to a level of education that is enough to make him or her live a comfortable life is not as easy as we portray it to be.
I wouldn't have more than 2 kids personally, at most 2, because I think it's really tough for parents nowadays to bring up their kids because there are so many things to consider. I mean, I want my own kids to enjoy a much better life than I do, for example. I think that the way to do it is have less kids and have more money to support them.
For me personally, I think I would love to have more than 5 children. My own grandmother had 10 children, and she had such a wonderful time in her old age, getting her own children to come to her home every weekend and to share her in maybe sharing her opinions, sharing cooking, and in short, to have fun together with her. So for me personally, I would love to have that kind of relationship with my children.
And what did they think of the new 5Cs that SM Go had recast?
For me personally, the old 5Cs were quite materialistic. They were quite superficial. Let's be more humanistic. Think of the bigger picture. I mean, at the end of the day, when we die and we are remembered by society, do we get remembered by the number of cars we have or the number of homes we have? We don't, right?
I think that the new 5C is actually more comprehensive as compared to the previous one, because the previous one is just concentrating on the material pursuit, which is no longer the case for Singapore.
In a sense, it's also less of what the people are actually going to go for, because the new 5Cs is actually suggested by the government. So I guess it might not necessarily reflect what the people are actually going for.
The participants came together to suggest policy recommendations for the new 5Cs and presented it to a panel led by SM Go. For more on the recommendations, watch our other clip.